Wow. We even got music to start. You know, everybody, David and I have been doing this call to action for, as I always say, a really freaking long time. And the amount of insanity that keeps popping its ugly little head on a literally, it seems like a daily basis, is just driving me bananas. And, you know, it used to be every once in a while you'd read in the papers how it's all the Jews' fault. It almost sounds like 1939 in a go back machine. But we had previous broadcasts that where we actually, showed how ridiculous some of this behavior is. And if you're out in California and you're in the burning zone, or you're actually taking in the the fumes and the aftermath already, we're sorry to hear, and we feel bad for you. But there's more than just all the plethora of damage. It's the vitriol hate that comes from this, and whether it's denying LA the ability to bring in fire trucks from New York to Washington State, or it's blaming the Jews in Israel for the reason why there's burning bushes throughout LA. It's just insanity. And I didn't know that someone that can graduate from a very, very well-known university can stand on a pulpit and preach vitriol hate even today. When normalcy takes over the White House on the 20th, I think we'll have a better take on where the world is going to go. Welcome, everybody, to the Rant Network. This is a podcast for unfiltered, unapologetic discussion, hosted by David Solomon to my right, which I'll soonly make that change, and myself, Stuart Brisgell. We tackle a diverse range of topics, candid conversation, bold opinions. Whether it's breaking down the latest headlines, exploring pop culture, debating politics, or delving into the complexities of modern life, this is a platform for every perspective. So grab a seat, settle in, and join us in this thought-provoking conversation. David, you speak to people from all over the world, whether they're in Mexico, the United States, Canada, Europe, Israel, Asia, on a regular basis. Did you know that Israel is the reason why LA is burning? And they're comparing the damage in LA to the Israelis destroying Gaza. This is insanity.
Well, it is in total insanity. But it's not new. This is the game that's being played, has been played out for God knows how long. And you started this conversation with that. And it's funny because whenever there's a situation that's bad, two things occur. One, blame Jews. Two, it has to all tie back into this so-called pro-Palestinian cause. So let's start with the first one. Let's blame the Jews. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the forest fires in LA, or the fires in LA, have been blamed to the Jews. That's right. The Jews have been blamed for this, right? Because some Jew probably stood there and go, hey, let's burn LA down. And there have been a bunch of theories behind it, behind the fact that maybe they didn't win a Golden Globe, maybe because they wanted to get back at California. All in all, it is all about, and where is this being perpetuated? On social media, of course. And people are reading it and going, what the hell? But it's not really helping right now, Stuart, because the amazing part about what these comments come from, listen, you get people like Jamie Lee Curtis, who stood up and said, hey, LA looks like Gaza now, which, like, that leads to people going, whoa, well, if Israel bombed Gaza, then they must have bombed LA. I mean, this is where it goes. And you could say, oh, they're just stupid people, but they're not. What Jamie Lee Curtis did was, like, that comparison was like drew a tremendous, ire by a lot of people. But this is what happens around here. And I'm not far, from LA at this point. And I got to tell you, people here are furious. They're furious at these people who make stupid statements like that, because it doesn't help. Okay, it does not help. But then you go a step further. If you remember way back when, at SUNY, the City University of New York, the so-called law speaker, she resurfaced by blaming the LA fires on Israel. That's right. She blamed Israel for the fires because the fires in Gaza will burn in LA. She says that this is what it is. The world is rebelling. And folks, it is so tiresome that everything is either you blame the Jews, and oh, by the way, you've got to also understand that the only cause that matters in this world is Palestine. Now, let me preface by saying this, that every time some anti-Semite like Fatima Musa Muhammad, who stood up there at SUNY and makes a remark like that, my remark to her is, you're not helping Palestine, you're helping to grow and enhance anti-Semitism. And all that you do, and every time you bring this up and you disrupt the Thanksgiving parade and you you disrupt the nativity scene and you do this, it's all about not to help Palestinians, because none of this helps Palestinians. All that you're doing is to help grow, enhance, and move the whole anti-Semitism movement to try to destroy the state of Israel, because it's all about from the river to the sea. That's what they're doing. And so when I'm sitting here in California with a whole bunch of people who are government officials and are telling me that this whole business of, blaming the Jews, they know it's complete false. But the average person, Stuart, today, who's on social media, who's watching TikTok, is not that well versed. And listen, Jews have been blamed for generations for everything. And lo and behold, here we go again. The Jew must be burning down LA. The Jew must be responsible. This is absolute insanity.
Dave, but like the bottom line is, we've provided an outlet trying to pacify insanity. And that was the last 4 years of government on steroids. Now, this head has lifted its eyes up more than once in the last 20 years. I mean, during the 8 years of Obama, the apology tour that Obama took through the Middle East and kissed the ring, clearly was a signal that the left has gone off the deep end. But that's okay. You know what, David? We have common sense hopefully arriving in the White House in just a few more days, one more week. And then there will be 100 lines into code. It looks like the Palestinians may have a savior coming, and his name's Donald Trump, because Hamas has to go. When Hamas goes, and if the Houthis go,
no, that's not going to happen. Let's stop with this bullshit. Okay, let's stop with this bullshit. Okay, this is not what this cause and this movement wants to do. Let's stop believing that there is this movement towards a two-state solution. Donald Trump might carpet bomb Hamas and he might get rid of Hezbollah, but there is no desire for a two-state solution. One doesn't call for genocide of Jews and promote more and more anti-Semitism, which is masked under anti-Zionism. It's very simple. They've delegitimized Israel. They've, to a point where it shouldn't exist. There are double standards with respect to Israel. Please do me a favor. This is not going to happen. There's no two-state solution here. What they want, Stuart, is a one-state solution. Judenrein, right?
I understand that's what they want. That's what they want. And again, David, I'm not saying that that's not what the people want, but the average Arab that lives in the quarter, that's just trying to make a living, raise his family.
Stuart, I'm tired. No, I'm tired of hearing that crap. Because Stuart, there are people, I will say this, there are some people, but the majority, even recently, wants Hamas in power. You have this, if Hamas disappears, you think the Palestinian Authority is any better. Let's get real, people. We're using Western philosophy there, but this is not today's rant, Stuart. Today's rant was, this is the reason why we're never going to move forward. When you blame Jews for everything that goes wrong in the world, how do you want to make peace?
David, how do you move forward? All right, you're telling me the problem. You're telling me the problem, which is, again, pretty easy to see. What is the solution?
The solution is simple, okay? And I know people don't want to hear this. but it's about strength. And this is what you started talking about, the reason they're getting this ability to voice their opinions and really be, abrasive in so many different areas and markets is because there's no strength against them. Middle East is about power. The one who's the strongest wields the power. Egypt did not come to the table to sign a peace treaty with Israel because it was a nice thing to do. They realized they couldn't beat Israel in a war. They came to the table. Jordan realized the same thing. The 4 countries that signed the Abraham Accords realized that if the power, the economic power, the military power, the technology power, all the power, that's in Israel. Okay, and they realized, you know what? We can't win this war anymore. We can't win this battle. But what's happening with these terrorist lovers is that they want to supplant Israel as the powerhouse, and that's not going to happen. So what you got is in the White House, if you have the power of the Donald Trump, and if other Western nations pivot, okay, because right now we've seen some nations pivot, but if they pivot towards that mindset, and they're going to say, oh, that's what right-wing extremism. We should be nice. Ladies and gentlemen, on October 7th, 2023, of the 1,400 people who were captured, murdered, beheaded, and burnt, included hundreds and hundreds of people who were ready to lay down arms to make peace with the Palestinians. There is no care in the world over there. The 2 of the bodies that were returned last week, Stuart, were Muslim bodies. They weren't Jews. They were Muslims. And they celebrated in Gaza the death of these people. If you want peace, if you want a 2-state solution, if you want a resolution of any kind, somebody has to empower Israel in a way to bring these people to the table. It's not about annihilation, and it's not about false accusations of genocide. Strength will wield a resolution.
And I think you're 100% right. But again, David, what is the end solution in this area? I mean, you did it. No, but that's not the end solution. There are people that live there.
Stuart, the end solution is very simple. You are seeing right now part of that end solution, and that is the eradication of groups who refuse to understand who is the strength. Now, somebody said to me, so Israel has to be the bully. It's not about being a bully. You don't have to use the strength. You just have to be the one that has it. And right now, Israel does have it. But when Iran and China and Russia are supplying these terrorists with arms and whatever, you're trying to destabilize the strength. Israel doesn't start wars. Jews don't start wars. When people will stop thinking that way, it doesn't happen. Go look at history. Israel does not say they're not a conquering nation. But the social media and these terrorist lovers, all in universities and in government and you name it, are all criticizing Israel as a conquering nation, a colonizer. And when you make statements like that, you completely discredit everything. The way it works right now is if we eradicate all this BS. So to blame Jews, to not punish someone who stands up there and says Jews are responsible for the fires, then when you start punishing people for these types of actions, you take the step towards a resolution. The more you let this happen and claim, oh, it's free speech, oh, it's okay, it's all right to disrupt, children and Christmas scenes and whatever. If you're okay with that, then you do not have a 2-state solution. There is no resolution. They only understand one thing: strength.
I can't disagree with you at all. But that's why I tried to take another tone and try and make you pull out something a little different.
Stuart, Stuart, let's be concrete here, okay? There is no solution right now in there when you have Iran, Russia, China, North Korea supporting terrorists. What only way to stop that is they're not putting down their arms. They believe they will destroy Israel. They are firmly, look at the Houthis in Yemen. They announced last week again, they will not stop their attacks on Israel. They're not afraid of Saudi Arabia. They're not afraid of the United States. I mean, really, this is it? Because you have a weak president, in the White House for another week, as you said, and when Donald Trump walks in that door. And that's why right now, by the way, they're talking about returning hostages, because they know what will happen if Donald Trump comes in and really does carpet bomb Hamas. What's going to happen if?
Your mouth, I hate to say it, to God's ears, because I don't think there is an easy path. And I think this is just kicking the can down the road, David. I think these people have an absolute pledge they have for 1,000 years to destroy all infidels. This is just another, okay, we couldn't do it this time. We'll have to come back next.
Right.
David, on that note, we've got to call it a wrap. And that brings us to a close of another episode of the Rant Network. We truly appreciate you tuning in and sharing this time with us. Your support and engagement means everything to open up, foster a communication-provoking, thought-provoking conversation. Don't forget, we're here every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Stay connected through social media, our channels, and answer us questions. We're always there. PM us. It shapes our community by keeping the conversation alive. Thank you once again for joining us. Till next time, keep the rants passionate, discussion vibrant, and the ideas flowing. Take care. We'll see you real soon.